What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Cocteau Twins. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Han Solo once again for sharing a whole load of Cocteau Twins material. And indeed, we're going through a handful of EPs before we get back to Head Over Heels, which I had started reacting to very inappropriately. But yeah, we're going to a 1983 EP called Sunburst and Snowblind. And I did want to mention also, shout out to Doug. He sent me a CD, one of the Cocteau Twins albums. I think it's a little bit farther down the line, but I'm looking forward to going through that and, you know, having the CD and a little bit of the visual aesthetic. He's also provided handwritten notes for everything he sent, so we'll be able to go through those when we get to that album. But again, in the meantime, we've got some EPs to get through, and the next one, 1983, is called Sunburst and Snowblind. I enjoy that title. It refers to natural elements in the world, the sun in the sky, the snow on the ground, at least, you know, during winter and in some places. But there's a violence to both parts of it, right? Sunburst, snowblind. It feels like there's biological or anthropological danger embedded within this natural scene that is set. And the first track is called Sugar Hiccup, which is also interesting. I mean, it's not quite as violent, but it's another sweet title that also speaks to an interruption of biological processes, a slight unpleasantry or wrinkle in the otherwise smooth flowing of biological functions. So I'm intrigued, and again, I fully appreciate having gone through not only Garland's but also the previous EP, which I was going to call it the Feather, whatchamacallit, which was the last tune from it. I apologize. In the moment, I'm forgetting. Lullabies, that's right. Lullabies. So I realize that, you know, lyrics are not always the central point of their tunes. It's often about atmosphere, setting a scene, and also, again, creating a vibe and a soundscape, but not necessarily, you know, filling in a full, detailed, multi-sentence narrative. So yeah, I'm not sure if Sugar Hiccup will have a philosophical or very detailed semantic meaning, but I enjoy, again, the seeming natural element, sugar, you know, something that chemically can come together in different ways, both naturally and through human contrivances, but also hiccup, which, like I said, speaks to an interruption of the normal functioning of biological process. So yeah, let's find out what it is. This is Cocteau Twins. The tune is Sugar Hiccup, which I believe was released as a single slightly before the EP overall, but it is the first track on the EP, which is from 1983. So Cocteau Twins, Sugar Hiccup from the Sunburst and Snowblind EP, 1983. Feels almost ballad-esque. So crazy.
Sugar,
Her vocals, I can't. Yeah, I'm transfixed by her vocals. I don't feel like I didn't catch very much of the lyrics, at least beyond the repetition of the main phrase. It did sound like something Sugar Hiccup on Cheerios or something to that effect. Like, again, I don't know if I'm like taking it to a sillier place or if it is sort of like tongue-in-cheek and it sounds like this dramatic emotional ballad, but in fact has this, you know, more mundane or quotidian setting. So it's weird. Again, lyrically, I feel like I could be missing, you know, multiple layers here. Well, I am missing multiple layers, but I feel like I could be taking it in a different direction than it's actually pointed. But yeah, it's weird. Sonically, it felt more like mainstream or like accessible pop. Not like mainstream feels like I'm, you know, saying that in a derisive way, which I'm certainly not. But yeah, it felt less esoteric and ethereal and dark ritual compared to Garland's, even compared to the Lullabies EP perhaps. So yeah, it's interesting. I know by the time they get to Lullabies, the sound has definitely started to change. I got a taste of that. And I'm sure, you know, it'll be fleshed out even more when we return to it. But yeah, here, again, this sounds different. This sounds like more sonorous and melodic and like emotional. But as I said, it's like maybe the lyrics were not in that same place. So there might be a tension or a sort of contradiction to the tune. Either way, I really enjoyed it, and her voice is just insane. Like her power, especially that last one where she really held it. Yeah, it's. I've heard a number of compelling things that she's already done vocally. I love that little, I don't know, it's like this like goat sort of warble, which again sounds like I might be critical, but that's not what I mean. It's just like I've never heard anyone have that kind of vibrato. Like, I guess it's technically a vibrato, but I've never heard anyone sound like that. But she wasn't really doing that type of singing here. It was more big and expansive, but again, perhaps about things that are less than common in those types of songs. So curious to hear what people have to say about this one. Once again, shout out to Han Solo, shout out to Doug. Again, we'll get to that album at some point. It'll be nice to have like a physical referent to it. And yeah, ultimately, looking forward to going through their catalog. It's another group I'm aware over time their sound changes, but yeah, so it'll be cool to mark the evolution of that process. So in any case, let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.